We are reading in Kabbalah for the student. We're reading to the introduction to the book Panim Me'irot U'Mazbirot. This is on page 439. We are in the very beginning of that page, beginning with the paragraph with these words. You may download this text also on Kab.tv or ask questions there. Chosen relevant questions will be asked during the lesson.
So he'd like to explain to us now why, nonetheless, he's taken upon himself such a serious mission to reveal the wisdom of Kabbalah. Actually, what is there about this method, about this wisdom, that it's forbidden to know? What is there as a result of that it's permitted or that it's not allowed? So according to what he explained, he said that previously people weren't in such a pursuit of pleasures of this world, and therefore they could use Kabbalah without confusing themselves. Of course, they weren't doing anything in spirituality. You can't touch spirituality there. You have to have tremendous kelim, masachim, orot, and the small beast in our world, meaning each and every person, has no touch with spirituality at all. Of course, we have no contact, and people can only confuse themselves and corrupt the short, convenient path, true path towards correction, and thus it is forbidden. And thus Kabbalah was concealed, and therefore Kabbalists, they distanced people from it by frightening them in different ways, by the different things they said about Kabbalah and the different limitations they set before their students, that only on such and such conditions they would accept them, and so on. Whereas now, in our times, he said, the time shall come, and the time has already come, that people shall achieve such a grade of youth, such tremendous ego, where they'll no longer want these things. They don't want Kabbalah on the one hand. On the other hand, they feel great emptiness, and from another side, the point in the heart is revealed, and then they have all the connection. They have the conditions are set in order to introduce Kabbalah for them, and whoever uses it, he'll use it for correction. And it's impossible to use it for any other purpose. As much as we disseminate, we see who uses it, who turns to Kabbalah. Only those individuals who are despaired of this world, and in the spiritual world, they have this point pushing them towards it, and they do not disregard what Kabbalah says. And also, to them, we have to reveal this method, this wisdom, bit by bit, like for the women, children, slaves, till all the people become wiser, and then to reveal this secret to them more and more, because the secret is the secret of love another as thyself. What kind of a secret is that? The secret is that when a person starts understanding that this is what is before him, he has to be able to bear it. He has to ascend above all his kelim, which means above reason, and to acquire the attribute of bestowal and love for others. And of course, he needs to cope with all, man has to cope with all his corporeal desires, and thus the secret is revealed only bit by bit. Please.
We're on 439 in Kabbalah for the student on the top. With these words, I unbid myself from a considerable complaint that I have dared more than all my predecessors in disclosing the ordinarily covered rudiments of the wisdom in my book, which was thus far unexplored. This refers to the essence of the 10 Sfirot and all that concerns them, Yashar and Choser, Pnimi and Mekif, the meaning of the Haka'ah and the meaning of the Hizdakhut. The authors that preceded me deliberately scattered the words here and there, and in subtle intimations, so one's hand would fail to gather them. I, through His light, which appeared upon me, and with the help of my teachers, have gathered them and disclosed the matters clearly enough and in their spiritual form, above place and above time. They could have come to me with a great argument. If there are no additions to my teachers here, then the Ari and Rav Chaim Vital themselves, and the genuine authors, the commentators on their words, could have disclosed and explained the matters as openly as I. And if you wish to say that it was revealed to them, then who is this writer, for whom it is certainly a great privilege to be dust and ashes under their feet? Who says that the lot given to him by the Creator is more than their lot? However, as you will see in the references, I neither added to my teachers nor innovated in the composition. All my words are already written in the 8 gates, in the tree of life, and in Mavo She'arim, the entrance of the gates, by the Ari. I did not add a single word to them, but they aimed to conceal matters, hence they scattered them, one here and one there. This was so because their generation was not yet completely worthy and required great care. We, however, for our many sins, all the words of our sages are already true in us. They had been said for the time of the Messiah to begin with, for in such a generation there is no longer fear of disclosing the wisdom, as we have elaborated above. Hence my words are open and in order.
Meaning, before, because there's no fear to reveal, thus that it will not confuse them and harm them on the one hand. On the other hand, that the generation is worthy, meaning that their ego has reached a state where they can't stand the Kabbalah, and only those who have this new deficiency in their ego, deficiency for spirituality, it's allowed to disseminate, advertise Kabbalah to them. Those that, not to disseminate, but to advertise those who have a spark in their hearts, and then they'll use it correctly corresponding to their spark. And there's no fear that people might be harmed by Kabbalah. This did exist in previous generations because people yearned for the different forms in spirituality, and it was forbidden for them. It was forbidden to give them any hope or path in spirituality because they had to still be in exile and increasing their ego. Thus, what he did is, he says, the previous Kabbalists, they did everything. Only that they dispersed their matter, these things, because their words, what they explained, because they didn't want it to be revealed openly before the public. Therefore, whoever even opened Kabbalah book, if it fell into his hand, as rare as it was, because books were barely printed. So he says that there was no fear from what they wrote, because they wrote such that people had no understanding of what they wrote about. They thought they were writing about remedies, blessings, mysticism, manipulations that you can perform with corporeal objects, talking about different recipes as to how to succeed and so on. Whereas what he says is that I only arranged these things that they've dispersed in the different scriptures, different books, and I didn't add anything to it. I only put things into order, and I made a right order for our generation.
Why is he making such a big effort here to explain himself, to erase people's doubts? Who is he turning to?
He's turning to all those enemies who still want to stay in exile and think that the exile has not come to an end yet because they have no connection to spirituality. They don't understand the Creator's desire because they don't feel Him, they're detached from Him, but that's what they think. And thus, because throughout the exile they grab a hold of controlling the nation. They had control over the nation. They had the force, although this force is disappearing gradually, but still. Therefore, subtly, he wishes to achieve a general understanding which would be accepted by all, that there's no one to blame for a situation. There are those that are still in the medieval ages, both the way they're clothed and corresponding to their internality and their direction. There are those who are already in a completely disconnected form from the method of correction, Judaism, and anything else. And there are those in between the two. It's all a result of what we went through in history. And there's no one who's right here or wrong. But we all have to correct these things and get out of them. It's a result of the breaking. It's supposed to be that way. And everything that happens, it happens as a result of the awakening Reshimot and the broken Kelim. And thus, we have to merely understand now what is upon us to do. And very subtly, because there's the matter of habit here, the way we're brought up from childhood, and many other things. So we have to make sure that we won't get a bad result from what we do. So he refers with love to everyone. On his behalf, there's no hatred towards anyone. The small, broken egoists, they can hate each other. On behalf of Kabbalists, it's impossible for there to be hate. Even, you can do with them whatever you want. But he understands the origin of their attitude, so how can you hate them? Now the broken Kelim they awaken in him and are awakening in them, and they're working as a result. What they have free choice, two forms of nature, receiver and bestower. The way one responds, he responds. What can you do? Can you do something about a lion eating some, deer? No, he eats it. He has to.
Well, that's exactly it. I'm not trying to change the lion. He's explaining to people here who haven't seen this, maybe they're reading this, they have no desire for this.
He isn't writing for people that won't read this and hate him. He knows that if they'll read these scriptures, they'll look at it such that they won't understand what he's writing. He's writing it for you, in order for you to understand the state, the situation in total, in general, and from within it you'll know how to refer to everything in a balanced fashion with love to all parts of the nation and humanity. Understanding that this is the result of the breaking and the development of the ego throughout the thousands of years, and this form is the preferable, most correct form for correction. And now the only thing left to do is to, start the correction, get down to the work, and now to explain with great love and patience to everyone what we have to do. And thus, we have to be considerate here, rational, although it's unpleasant. There were those that there was war against him. But what can you do? On the corporeal level, you have to fight them the way it's accepted, even through police and lawyers and court and any other way. if it comes down to that. And on the other hand, you have to understand that you have no choice. You have to see the correction that should stand before your eyes. And to do that too in a way which is useful for correction. That's how it is. And to see humanity in a general fashion. This is our general problem, that this is how we are after the breaking and after the increasement of the ego throughout the thousands of years, yes.
There's a question here from Israel. We hear from you sometimes even that you don't want to add anything to the Rabash. And Bala Sulam is also writing here that he doesn't want to add over his predecessors. What does this matter with the Kabbalists not adding?
No one adds anything. What is there to add to Moses, our patriarch? Say, we have no one greater than him. What is there to add? The only thing is that we try to interpret, explain what is or about spirituality which he has revealed, and that's where we all get our source from. The only matter is the scrutiny towards the students in order for each one to accept it correctly. I buy groceries at the supermarket. I come home. You buy the same groceries at the supermarket and you go home. You prepare from those same groceries things that correspond to what your family wants to eat, and I'm corresponding to what my family wants to eat, and it's the same, the same ingredients. And it says that all that was is. It's all according to the generation and the souls. This is what we do. And it says, every student is future to reveal at the end of days. What we will reveal was already revealed to Moses on Mount Sinai, because the light of Ein Sof, which was revealed, everything's in there. Everything exists in Matzav Aleph, the first state. We only develop the vessels and reveal what's there. So, of course, as he says, the previous Kabbalists, they knew much more than the Kabbalists that succeeded them, only that they didn't know how to reveal it. Our generation, which is the last generation, and really we're at the end of our development, we, in our work, will reveal the greatest vessels towards the greatest lights. And the light of Chokhmah, it shines but in the Kelim of the Avot, of the fathers, in the Kelim of Chagat. So, of course, there's a new revelation here, undoubtedly, but not things that are fundamentally new, but only towards us. Of course, we feel it on every lesson, that there's something. I even see on my blog, when I later on arrange it, every morning, I see that I'm adding. There are many words around the matter, of course, but every time there's an addition, scrutiny, clarification.
So, in relation to this, they're asking, what is this revelation? What is Bala Sulam revealing? What is he arranging?
It's a revelation of the order, first and foremost. Nothing's lacking besides revealing the connection between the things. The entire wisdom comes as a result of the revelation of the connections, analysis and synthesis working one against the other, taking apart and putting together. This is what the wisdom is built of, and as it occurs inside the creature, this is what he lives from, the creature. From the ordinary degree of the beastly corporeal food up to the spiritual degree. In each and everything, life consists of dismantling and putting things back together. So we say that we study in order to draw the reforming light, and there's no order. It's with respect to us. we don't know and don't reveal, and we're doing that. All that you can do, you have to do. But of course, the order, on my behalf, these actions aren't scrutinized yet enough. I'm not following the same notions of the Creator, but like a baby that does a lot of rubbish, but eventually his actions become more and more targeted, connected to the brain. He keeps himself from doing foolish things, as if he starts to save on redundant actions. And we see that that's how a person grows, and that's how we are too. Yes?
Maybe, in any case, let's approach this from a different direction. Let's say if you wouldn't arrange it this way, we wouldn't be able to study and draw the light that reforms?
No. We have to understand that we had no connection to the light. Had no connection to it. We need systems. He explains to us where he says, therefore we have to be hold great favor for the Kabbalists, for what they did. It's a system where each previous generation has to prepare itself as the basis for the next generation. I was just in the Czech Republic, and I went to this one synagogue, ancient synagogue. It's almost 4 meters underground. Why? Because since then, 4 meters of soil and garbage and whatever were piled up. These are called the cultural layers. I don't know how you say it in Hebrew. So this is how every time we prepare the foundations, the soil for the next generations. And you can't do anything about it. We can't grow without this addition. And thus, Baal Sulam scrutinized, put into place, arranged, put together the system. As he says, these things were dispersed here and there. It's not that they were dispersed, and he wrote them down in a nice, orderly fashion, and the content of table, for it to be easy for you to read. He arranged it essentially, internally. He arranged it in a system, where through this system, now you can get light. It's like we say about the sages of the Talmud, which prepared for us a system in order for us not to need to undergo sufferings like eat bread, drink water, and so on. They arranged all the souls such that from this system you can get the reforming light, and it's sufficient for any correction. He did the very same. It's not that he arranged the scriptures. The scriptures, of course, but it's the last thing. You read it and you don't understand anything anyhow. He arranged for you so that through what he wrote, you can connect to the system. And then it draws upon you the reforming light. And you say, can I go without? Can I do without him? Of course you can't, because you need the reforming light. And only this way will the light be suitable for your soul. Thus he got this special role. And necessarily through his writings, the Sulam commentary and the tests, you get the reforming light. Try to get it through something else. It won't work. Simply won't. Why? Because it's not arranged corresponding to our generation. It's not that something's missing there besides the right order set for us. This is what he meant by I have arranged for you. I didn't think that I have to explain this because we talked about it when we talked about the sages of the Talmud, but okay. Yes?
Moshe from Los Angeles is asking, In one of the letters, Bala Sulam writes to his students to find strengthening his words regarding from the matters of the Ari. Should we base ourselves only on Bala Sulam, or for circulation we should add more sources around it?
Yes, we have to strengthen our sources by other sources in order for people to know that we are not depending on some source that someone might doubt. Because there are people that, as a result of still holding themselves in exile, hating Bala Sulam, but they say about all the others that they're fine. There are those. Although we have already broken this shell to a large extent. But nonetheless, there are those, and we have to emphasize the other sources, how they all go along, how they all go together with Bala Sulam. You see, we published a book, Shnei Meorot HaGdolim. We connected Bala Sulam and Rav Kook. It didn't work. It takes time. But you see that from one year to the next, it's being heard, and people start understanding the greatness of this person, of this soul. Yes.
He says here that the matters here aren't revealed. He doesn't. It wasn't revealed because the generation was unworthy. What about the next generation, our children? In what are they worthy?
How are they not in debt? We do not reveal this either. We see that we're in a very low state. And desires that there's nothing tangible to them. What kind of desires are these? Now we're thinking with respect to the divinity that's supposed to reveal itself to us, we reveal ourselves in the complete opposite form. And with respect to our children, we don't have anything to do but to simply give them, bring them the best possible correction, meaning to build an environment, a society. We have nothing else to engage in. We don't care about giving them knowledge about reality, perception reality, different stuff. But all in all, to arrange them into a society where this society will be useful in its influence over each and every one to bring them to more spiritual values. That's it. The focus, the goal should be very sharp. Building an environment where each one will be influenced by it. And that's it. This is actually the educational system. The educational system is building a society. It doesn't educate itself. It doesn't have to give a child proof, examples, wise sayings. A person is stupid. He simply he looks at others, takes an example from them like a monkey. That's how we're built. And when you stop learning like a monkey, you stop advancing. There's no point in being shy or ashamed of our way of study. This is how we refer to the upper system, where we're all together getting life from there, and that's how we are now. The more we take example from everyone, the more we prepare ourselves for the connection, for life. You see, the world becomes more and more connected. Why? Because without it, we will always fall behind. We won't advance. It's all headed towards connection and spirituality and even corporeality. Through the bonding, you achieve achievements. All the science and all the different things, the more they advance, the more intermingled they become. Thus, the building of the right education for kids is building an environment. And not building the kids themselves, but to build an environment, yes?
If we'll build this environment correctly, so they will understand just how important it is.
That's it. You get everything you need. You don't need anything besides that. Meaning the care, the concern should be only for an environment, only for that which surrounds them, that which they're influenced by.
This will prepare them better for this revelation, for the generation which is entirely worthy in needing this?
Each one will reveal it on his own, and they'll reveal together how opposite they are to the connection. This means a generation which is in debt. A generation which is entirely in debt means that the kilim are completely broken. They have to undergo correction and bonding. This means that they're in debt, that they must bond. When does it come? One reveals that he doesn't owe it to anyone but to himself. Give him the mic.
What is our scale of measure in the success that we want to measure and what we're trying to build for kids? Is it some kind of giving, love, or how can I know that what I've done right now with them is correct?
They needn't know what you're doing with them. Maybe they can't digest the extent to which they're under the influence of the environment, and that they themselves maybe have to build the environment and so on. Look what we're doing. We're those same children that maybe we've grown a bit older. Can I, as a guide, do this? So you would have to do it without telling them what are they influenced by. How it will help them know that, oh, now I'm influenced by society. I open myself up and I'm influenced. Won't help him. You can't artificially come up to him and tell him about this. Baal Sulam tells us, in order for us to build the environment, in order for us to also disseminate this thing to the world and build an environment with respect to the world. This is the kli of dissemination, the tool. What does it mean, dissemination? That I build an environment through which I influence the world. This is actually dissemination. This is the intensity of my attitude towards humanity to convince them, for them to think and change only through the environment. You have no other approach. They don't hear you. But only for there to be a strong environment and for it to be respectable to in certain fields or to a certain extent, for them to understand that there's something non-simple here. And this is how we have to present ourselves, that there's an opinion and a foundation here and thousands of years of Kabbalists and a big group, and to show the friends that look who and what they are, and everyone has to sustain themselves on a high level. The people have to understand that there is intensity here. Otherwise, they're looking for a father, but one does not exist. And then you can influence them. So you have no choice. You have to show yourself as great, as knowledgeable, as capable. You must, otherwise, how will they learn? They won't come to you, they won't look at you. They need it like babies. And the same with kids. You have to build an environment, meaning cunningly, you have to build an opinion. By cunning, meaning, under the carpet, beneath the surface, kind of, to build the right attitude, to bond several kids together in order for them to influence the others, and so on. This is very subtle work. With the grown-ups, you'll see how non-simple it is. And with the kids, there are these and there are those. There are actions which are easier to perform and those that are harder to perform. But not in a frontal way that now you go and explain to them that we're building a society. Also, but it's more useful if it works naturally. And thus, when they come to us here, we have to show them examples, we have to talk to them, They have to see that we expect them a certain form of behavior. Yes.
By the adults, despite their building this environment, but I don't see this type of generous attitude towards one another. Sometimes we see like the internal state more. Now, can we see the success in children and how nicely they behave one towards another as a result? Like, is this externality is important, or they should always be just checking themselves? Why am I behaving this way? What's the source of this?
Yes, but all this upon the existing attitude. Meaning, first of all, you have to build the facts, the relations, criticism, examination, scrutiny, self-judgment, self-scrutiny, self-examination, knowing the principles, and thus to develop. You also have to do with education? Yes? Okay.
I have to do with the marketing department in the education. It's not okay. I just wanted to ask if you can tell us this thing about children. How can we, like in marketing, look at something that is different from us? I mean, you spoke about this, that the Baal Sulam, this that said thickness changes from what we've seen in the past. Now, the children today, and I'm not talking about the wonderful kids in the Malam, but other kids outside. Do we have to know here that there is something new for us here in circulation?
I don't know what to tell you. I think that after we will have nice, ready groups of children for marketing, then you will market them, and this will be good dissemination. But this is after the work that you'll perform with our kids. Make TV shows out of it, different other things. Invite kids from our groups, from all over Israel or all over the world, invite them to participate, but after you have a good, strong foundation of your own, and after you work with them, you teach them how to be guides, how to be the right guides. It's not simple, but they'll learn as a result how to sustain themselves. It's work, yes.
In relation to this, Dan from Tel Aviv is asking, is this environment we can build for the kids a type of laboratory, and will they then not have the ability to deal with the outside world?
No, these are repeating questions. A kid that grows and is in an environment that gives him, sets good examples, and he tries to have a nice attitude towards his environment. He doesn't become any weaker towards the others, but suddenly he finds out that there are many good forces that work and help him, and there are many good forces that evil forces aren't coming upon him. Instinctively, we always keep the child, guard him, and we say, don't fight with the other. If there's a problem, just leave him alone. Be subtle, gentle with others, because we know that we understand that good attitude towards your environment, it gives you greater security, confidence, tranquility than starting to fight. And we also see that in particular people and also between countries, it doesn't help. The power, the force of the fist eventually loses, does not gain. This is how the world is built. You can't change nature, and if momentarily it seems to you as, look what a hero he is, later you see that this hero is eventually unsuccessful. Both a person, a society, a whole country, and that's how it is. Thus, there is only success in equivalence of form with the Creator. This is the key for success. And thus these questions, they're off-tune, because we have to teach a person how to be as close as possible to the Creator, and then for sure will he succeed. No chance that he won't. And any other form of behavior will harm him. Let's keep on reading.
Letter 6. And now, sons, do hear me. The wisdom crieth aloud in the streets. She uttereth her voice. Whoso is on the Lord's side, let him come unto me. For it is no vain thing for you, because it is your life and the length of your days. You were not created to follow the act of the grain and the potato, you and your asses in one trough. And as the purpose of the ass is not to serve all its contemporary asses, man's purpose is not to serve all the bodies of the people of his time, the contemporaries of his physical body. Rather, the purpose of the ass is to serve and be of use to man, who is superior to it, and the purpose of man is to serve the Creator and complete his aim. As Ben Zuma said, all those were created only to serve me, and I to serve my Maker. He says, the Lord hath made all things for his own purpose, since the Creator yearns and craves our perfection. It is said in Bereshit Rabbah that the angels said to him, what is man that thou art mindful of him, and the son of man that thou thinkest of him? Why do you need this trouble? The Creator told them, therefore, why sheep and oxen? What does it resemble? A king who had a tower filled abundantly, but no guests. What pleasure has the king from his fill? They promptly said unto him, O Lord, our Lord, how glorious is thy name in all the earth. Do that which seems good to you. Seemingly, we should doubt that allegory, since where does that tower filled abundantly stand? In our time, we really would fill it with guests to the rim. Indeed, the words are earnest, since you see that the angels made no complaint about any of the creatures that were created during the 6 days of creation, except about man. This is because he was created in God's image, and consists of the upper and lower together. When the angels saw it, they were startled and bewildered. How would the pure spiritual soul descend from its sublime degree and come in and dwell in the same abode with this filthy, beastly body? In other words, they wondered, why do you need this trouble? The answer came to them is that there was already a tower filled abundantly and empty of guests. To fill it with guests, we need the existence of this human, made of upper and lower together. For this reason, the pure soul must clothe in the shape of this filthy body. They immediately understood it and said, do that which seems good to you.
Meaning that, you remember this story, the magician, that neither the still nor the vegetator, the animate, can provide the Creator the appropriate vessels for the fulfillment of bestowal and love, but only for man to understand and feel him, to be exactly like him. Then reciprocally can they achieve connection, and we between ourselves have to also reach the same form as one general man towards the Creator. So we'll do it in a way where we will understand that the connection is the best possible thing. And in order for us to achieve this consciously, the Creator, He divided us into pieces and said, if you can get along, be partners, friends, beloved ones, and connect as one man in one heart, then you can feel me and connect to me. And thus, here we have great work to do. And the melachim, angels, meaning the powers of nature, that understand this until they until they've reached the fourth Bchina Dalet, the fourth discernment, the last discernment. As it developed, is there an understanding of what is happening, what's going on? As it says, the field, it was all planted for me, where it all achieves the final degree of man. And along the way, as the desire reveals, then you can't see anything. It's the same as you don't show a fool have the work done, because those who are not yet developed enough, they do understand the thoughts, and they do understand that all these things necessarily have to develop, because from the beginning to the end of creation, there are these two discernments which determine everything that will exist along the way. If we would have connected the beginning and the end of creation, immediately would have seen how the plan is unfolded entirely, with all details existing, clear, understood, and we wouldn't have had any doubts or questions with respect to what is happening and planned. But here, in the plan, we have this small addition called our choice, where nonetheless there is exertion on behalf of man to understand and find his place in this divine plan. So let's agree with the angels, yes. Tim from America is asking, do we correct the old breaking, or do we create a new connection in the world clean? We are correcting the breaking. And the correction of the breakings to create a connection between us, thus that each one refers to the others as if he is working towards the Creator. And then, this way, we create the clean that later on serves in order to reveal the Creator, to connect to Him. The purpose of creation is adhesion. But the means for correction is through connecting with the environment, with all of humanity, which is the kli for the revelation of the purpose of creation, yes. There is a reference here, you said a few days ago, to search at our place of work what's paining people, and someone did it, and someone says that everyone is bummed out because of life and work. They're in depression because of it. What can we do? Now, he has to make the following examination. Are they sure that they will not have it better in this life, and they need to search for a solution in something that as if does not exist in this world? Meaning, are they achieving the question of what is the meaning in life? Not simply what is the meaning in life, but that nonetheless there has to be in our life, there has to be some solution. Meaning, do they have a connection or some kind of a merging into the point in the heart, something ahead? There's no precise question to it. He has to see if from the general disparate situation, is there something in which they nonetheless look up a bit. Is it in them or not? If it's there, you can keep going and ask on. If not, keep silent. To keep silent meaning in an unrevealed fashion, to nonetheless disseminate materials, but it's not recommended to do at your place of work. Okay, we've finished this passage. We'll stop here. And what about our announcements? We have several announcements. Bet Kabbalahinfo, tomorrow and every Friday we'll get together in Bet Kabbalahinfo all around Israel for a special day of broadcast live. 3, Parashat HaShavua, the portion of the week with Rav Leitman. 4, Shevet Achim. Friday, Batei Kabbalahinfo, everything starts to connect. The social lesson of the Israeli Kli. Kabbalahinfo are happy to invite all the groups and, everyone all over Israel to physically take part in the different Batei Kabbalahinfo all over Israel. It's live, Sunday, 8:15. Everyone is invited to physically come to the centers in order to take part together in this meeting. Okay, so thank you very much and have a pleasant day.
יש עוד אהבה בעולם, גם אם נשתכחה, גם אם הסתתרה, גם אם טרם גילית את סודה. יש עוד אהבה בעולם, גם אם נשתכחה, גם אם הסתתרה, גם אם טרם גילית את סודה. היא השיר של החיים, היא האור של השירים, קבל אותה אל תירתע, רק לך היא נועדה. היא השיר של החיים, היא האור של השירים, קבל אותה אל תירתע, רק לך היא נועדה. יש עוד אהבה בעולם, אותה עוד יגלו כולם, רק לפתוח צוהר חם, היא כבר תמצא לה את דרכה לשם. היא השיר של החיים, היא האור של השירים, קבל אותה אל תירתע, רק לך